Hello, my name is Jackie Freeman, and I'm a third-year student here at Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. We're here today with Dr. William Greenway. He's a professor of philosophical theology here at Austin Seminary. Dr. Greenway, we're glad you're here with us.
Good to be here with you.
Thank you. I'd like to start by asking you a little about your background. Did you grow up in a family or church that celebrated Lent and Easter?
Yes, I was raised Wesleyan in a small town, an academic town, a college community, Houghton, New York. And we certainly celebrated Easter. Unlike the Reformed churches that I'm a part of now, Lent was not a part of our tradition as much. We were a lower church, but yes, we celebrated Easter every year.
Do you have any favorite memories you'd like to share with us?
Easter always felt to me like a more religious holiday because we didn't have as much, Easter stuff going on. But we did have Easter baskets, and we would get up and look for them. My parents would hide them every morning. And then we'd have cinnamon rolls for Easter morning breakfast. So I remember that. There was never much in them. The whole thing was just to be, part of the surprise and have fun together and then have breakfast together and then go to the Easter service.
What does the study of philosophical theology have to teach us about Easter hope?
Yes. Well, my home church, what I realized in reflecting on your question and the contrast between the Reformed emphasis on Lent and such, and my church's emphasis on the cross, really all year long, it connected with me with some recent emphases in womanist theology, where kind of second-generation womanists noticed that with the spirituals of their grandmothers and 19th and 18th century black theology in the United States, and really in amongst theologies of persecuted and oppressed peoples throughout history, the cross really has been central, a central image. And the main person for me philosophically has been a philosopher, a Jewish philosopher by the name of Emanuel Levinas. And at the core of his philosophy is a reaction to the Holocaust, which is very much similar to the first century community's reaction to the cross, and both reactions to horrors and injustice. And I think what we see in the cross and the reaction to the cross is today it's often thought that evil and suffering is somehow a threat to faith or a challenge to faith, something that needs to be explained, when actually I think it's in the face of horror, evil and suffering, especially injustice such that we see in the Holocaust or see on the cross, that we are more certain than ever of the reality of what is loving and good. And so it's in that context that I have absolutely no doubt this is wrong, but it's not just a wrong, it's a violation of what should be. It's a violation of what's loving and what's just and what's good. And in the cross, it's a product of Jesus' fidelity to what's loving and good in the face of persecution. And so I think my community, which was a poorer community, a more marginalized community, their emphasis on the cross all year long, I think in ways that might be similar to other communities as well. It actually, paradoxically, it was a source of triumph, not a triumph of in this life of the bodily, of success, but a triumph of agape, a time when we were more certain than ever of the reality of agape. And the conviction kind of arises that agape, that passion for what's loving and good is so powerful that somehow that has to be the final word. That somehow the suffering in this life, and in this life that's what happens. I mean, Peter is martyred, Paul is martyred, Jesus dies on the cross. I mean, all sorts of faithful people meet in this life horrible ends. But as we see that and react to it, the idea that somehow that can't be the final word, that in the cross we actually, in our reaction, the agape that's manifested, that's somehow the final word, that's Easter hope, I think.
Dr. Greenway, for our final question, what would you say to someone who's struggling with Easter hope?
It might sound paradoxical, but I would say to love. And this is the love that we are seized by in the cross. We are surrendered to love for another, surrender to that love for someone else. And maybe it's just a kind word you say. Find a way to love. And in that love, in that surrender to love for someone else, you'll be taken up into agape, into the love which brings hope.
Thank you, Dr. Greenway.
Thank you.
It is our sincere prayer that these video devotionals will encourage you during the season of Lent and fill your heart with Easter hope.